Hey, what's up, everyone? I wanted to take a quick moment to talk about changing a motor on my trusty table saw. I have an older model rigid. It's a TS 3660. I really like this table saw because it has the cast that goes all the way across, where the new table saws, the cast is only on the main part of the deck right here, and then this is kind of a pressed steel for the extension, but this one has cast all the way across. Plus this has I think a little bit better movement system where you have one pedal that you can push this down and lift your saw and move it around, so it makes it real convenient if you have a small shop where you can move things around. But I found that my motor was bogging down and actually stalling when I was cutting some wood, so I ordered a replacement motor from Amazon, and this is the motor that I ended up going with, and I chose it because it's a little bit cheaper than some of the name brand motors. But this is a 2 horsepower, where this saw normally comes with a 1.5 horsepower, and it's the same speed, same size shaft. It has the same mounting holes and everything, so it was going to line up and fit just perfect. And as soon as I got this out of the box, it has listed right on here. You can see the wiring diagram. It also came with the same sheet, like an instruction sheet that says has the exact same wiring diagram, and basically just tells you to connect wires 1, 3, and 8 to line 1, and 2, 4, and 6 to line 2, because I'm wiring mine for 115 volt right here. And it even tells you 1, 3, and 8, 3 lines together to a power cable, and 2, 4, and 6, 3 lines together to another power cable. And I just kind of ignored this because I'm not wiring it for 230. It does have a note here that says to change it from counterclockwise spin to clockwise, you exchange 6 and 8. So you move wire 6 and wire 8, so they're on the opposite lines of what they've got lined out here, because the default that they have here is counterclockwise. However, when I got this out of the box, and it did come shipped very well, I was pretty excited. It came in a cardboard box. Then inside the cardboard box was this plywood that was, put together with these special clip mechanisms that you actually have to use a hammer to bend over. So this box was not coming apart. You can see how these kind of slip over the tab, and then this folds over, and so it definitely wasn't coming apart. It was packaged very well, has this really high density styrofoam, and it was even had some bolts here that even bolted the motor into the bottom of the box. So I kind of had to tear the box apart to get the motor out. Got the motor out, got things set up. The next day I went to wire this up, and all of the wires that come out of this are black, which isn't a problem because they're labeled, right? You have got, here I'll zoom in a bit. We've got, here's T3. This cord coming down here, this is my cord, my power cord coming from my saw. So this is my line coming from my switch on the front of the saw. So there's, the hot and the common right here, and then the green is the ground, and it just goes inside the case here to a ground screw inside the wiring block here. And I don't, this is obviously just sitting on top of the thing here. Well, I actually had it mounted on the plate, and moved the belt drive piece over here, and kind of had things lined up and stuff. But when I went to wire this, I got to looking, and I had 1 and 3 and 4, and here's this one's, oh, that's 3 again, and 6 and 2. And here's the other issue that you're going to see is I have T2 and T2. So they actually labeled these wires coming out of the motor incorrectly, and it would not run. I did get it to run once, kind of guessing that maybe I was missing, because there is no cable 8. So I thought perhaps the 2 2s that I had, one of them was possibly an 8. And I did get it to run counterclockwise, but when I switched the cable 6 for what I thought was 8, I would trip the breaker every time. And so that obviously was not right. What I ended up having to do was doing a bunch of research on the web, and I got an ohm meter. And basically the way this works is you have two kind of capacitors on here that are running. I don't know if the capacitor is the right term, but you have a starter and you have a run unit here. And obviously I don't know which of these are coming out of here, but you can use your tester and just set it to measure ohms. And so I actually turned mine to this setting here, which is continuity with an alarm. So when I take my probes and I put them together, let's see if I can do this one-handed. When I take my probes and you put them together and you get continuity, you actually get an alarm that goes off on the. So there you can see, and it reads 0, saying that it's got continuity all the way through. I really wasn't worried about determining which of these was which. There are some videos that tell you to look for the resistance that's in here, and you can kind of determine which is which. All I knew was that there were 6 wires on here. 2 were coming from one of these, 2 were coming from the other one, and 2 were going to the centrifuge switch inside the motor. And because it has to be wired in such a way that you have 3 lines on one and 3 lines on the other, you essentially have one of these lines from each of these units. You'll have 2 lines coming out that go to your separate line in, so white and black, and then you have this one's the same way. You have 2 lines that come in, white and black, and then your other 2 lines go to your switch, and that actually controls which direction this motor runs. So I was able to, using my ohm meter, determine which of these were pairs. So which 2 of these together went to one of these units. And again, I didn't care which one. So I did some checking, and I come to find out that 3 and 4, their wires 3 and 4 had continuity. The 2 2s had some continuity between them. And then 1 and 6, I figured were probably the switch. And so I knew I was going to take wire 3, put it on white. Wire 4 I'd put on black. One of the 2s I'd put on white. One of the 2s I'd put on black. I'd put 1 on white and 6 on black, and then try it. And when I did that, I tripped the breaker. And so I actually swapped these 2 2s on the line in to get it to go, and I got the motor to turn counterclockwise, the default. So I was back to kind of where I was square one using their diagram, and knowing that these are the 2 that I have to switch the direction of the rotation, I swapped cables 1 and 6, and the motor then turned in the right direction, turned clockwise, what I needed for my saw. So what I ended up coming up with was line 1 had 2 with a piece of tape that I had put a piece of black tape on it to mark that was the second number 2, right? And then 3 and 6 went to line 1, my white. And then line 2, black, was their numbers 1, 4, and 2, 1, 2, 4. And I got some colored electrical tape, and I went ahead and I colored these. I left this one black, and I put a stripe of white tape and yellow, red, green, and blue tape on all the wires, mostly just so that, because this was just sitting on my, on top of the table saw here, I still have to wire this in. Now I have actually a color code that I can put this back together on my table saw. So I don't know if this will be any help to any of you guys, but it was super frustrating to get this motor and then have the cables labeled incorrectly. And I was just feel like I was somewhat lucky, but like doing a lot of research on the internet to find this video to tell me kind of how to determine, when you have continuity between two wires coming out of each of these, and then to figure out how to wire it together. So hopefully this will help you out. I may take a video afterwards, so just to prove that the motor's on the saw and working, but trust me, I need to use this. I'm right in the middle of a remodel. So hope you guys are well and safe. Have a great day.